Ah, nostalgia. Hollywood has been mining it forever, and video games are discovering more and more how powerful it can be as a way into our hearts and, more importantly, our wallets. This is Maya, you're watching Ninja Pulse, and we got an early look at the new gameplay footage from Star Wars Outlaws. There's a lot of it, and since we at Ninja Pulse are always talking about movies while we should be playing games, we scoured this massive trove of footage for familiar sights. We already saw Jabba's palace and Han Solo in carbonite snooze mode to tell us when we are in the story, but also to get those nostalgia senses tingling. Now we see at least 2 classic Star Wars cantinas acting as quest hubs, complete with crazy alien band, shady characters, and conveniently empty alcoves. The vibe feels instantly familiar, and the closer you look, the more you notice how many details the folks at Massive Entertainment have brought over from those early movies.
Something stolen from Borak's private base. Some information you'd hate to get out.
Another obviously familiar environment is the Imperial Space Station. The hangar has major Death Star vibes, with their shiny floor, the lighting on the walls, and the computer terminals.
Great. And my name is Kay.
Maybe not quite the meticulous level of recreation we saw in Alien Isolation. This is a much bigger game, but there's a heavy dose of that familiar Imperial architecture and also the old school feel of all that 70s analog equipment. You really get a sense of this in the hacking minigame, all clicky, pixely and retro, definitely following the lead of Fallout, and again, Alien Isolation. And Kay's ship, the Trailblazer, definitely stole some fashion tips from the Millennium Falcon. Even the UI has a very 1970s feel to it. One of the other big chunks of footage takes place inside a massive industrial facility with all these turbines and walkways. Immediately reminded me of the crazy infrastructure below Cloud City, which always seemed a bit inscrutable and looked suspiciously like level design rather than actual world building. Most of the new footage is on the moon Toshara, which is a new location, but we know there will be classic sites to visit as well. Even so, Toshara and its main city, Mirogana, do manage to look quintessentially Star Wars, with all the old school pipes and junk and rust and rundown environments, and of course the droids and aliens milling about. But there's also hints in this underworld at the newer stuff in the franchise like Andor, Solo, and The Mandalorian. Those who remember the Star Wars 1313 game and how exciting it looked before it was cancelled might be a little cheered up by some of these settings. There are some fresher sights as well, like the debris field in space, which look enticing, but it's clear that Massive have put a lot of time, money, and effort into capturing that vintage Star Wars aesthetic, and they obviously want to show it off. Whether you think that's a cynical play for our sense of nostalgia, or a genuine attempt to build a game experience which feels authentically Star Wars, it's too early to say. Outlaws is out on August 30th. There have been some concerns about the gameplay shown so far, and we thought some of the lip syncing and animations looked oddly clunky for a game with this level of budget and AAA status.
And you'll give me work. Got it.
Worst case scenario, it will probably be just fine, but I hope it will be a lot better than that, if only because of the amount of work the art team have clearly poured into this. Lightsabers crossed.